So, Apple just redesigned iOS, and this isn't just any small update with like small changes. Rather, this is a pretty big refresh. And sure, yeah, this is new, this is exciting, but at the same time, I don't think this is just about aesthetics. I think this is Apple showing us where they want things to go. Because this redesign, it's not just about your iPhone. Rather, it's about preparing you for what's next. So the new iOS has these nice sleek icons and things feel a lot more glassy or translucent if you will, and it just overall has this more fluid and light vibe to it, kind of similar to visionOS, which even though it wasn't exactly the most popular, let's still give it its credit, it was a pretty good software platform. But here's the thing, Apple rarely changes up how iOS looks. I mean, the last time I can think of when they actually changed up the look and feel of iOS was iOS 7, which was 12 years ago. And when Apple makes leaps and changes this big, it's usually not about catching up to trends, rather it's about setting the stage. And that's exactly what I think Apple's doing here. Alrighty, so let's rewind a couple of years ago, and you might remember Apple's Vision Pro. Their $3,500 super expensive but not exactly super popular headset. Now most people didn't really buy that Vision Pro. They didn't really buy into that reality because let's be honest, nobody's trying to spend $3,500 on it. I wasn't either. But it wasn't even just the money. Rather, people weren't really buying into the future either. And nobody wants to wear these huge mega ski goggles in public. You'd look like... I don't really have the words for what you look like, but it wouldn't be exactly what you envision the future as. But here's the thing, Apple's still betting pretty big on the Vision Pro because they're not looking at what it is right now. They're looking at what it will be in 5 to 10 years. They don't imagine it as these huge ski goggles on your face, rather they'd see it as, well, this. Apple doesn't see the future in your pocket. Rather, they see the future as on your face. They see the future of you controlling virtual tabs with your eyes, voice, and fingertips, rather than with buttons and virtual controllers. Pretty much like an episode of the Black Mirror. Super exciting, I know, right? But here's the thing, as exciting or gloomy that future does seem, it's not going to happen overnight. It takes time and it's a long transition, and that's where Apple's new iOS redesign comes in. The new redesign in iOS and Apple's other softwares have a lot of visual similarities to visionOS, and it's pretty clear that Apple's not exactly trying to get us to leave our house right now and buy a new Vision Pro headset. Rather, they're trying to get us used to what they see the future as in 5 to 10 years. So basically, when we buy something like this in 10 years, we're already used to the software. In other words, they're not trying to really get us to buy a headset right now. Rather, they're trying to get us used to a completely different interface, one update at a time. But that's not really the only reason, because let's be honest, the iPhone and even Apple broadly haven't really felt exciting in a very long time. I mean, looking at the Vision Pro we just talked about, it made its way to a lot of headlines, but it didn't really make its way to a lot of homes. And even last year, they made a huge deal about Apple Intelligence. Well, we haven't really seen half of what Apple Intelligence can even do yet, and the half that we have seen, let's be honest, it sucks. And even the most recent big thing we got was the iPhone 16, and well, it's an iPhone. Like, just putting it all together, as of recent, tech in general, but also Apple in specific, hit this plateau and everything kind of feels and looks the same, and nobody's really paying attention anymore. Well, Apple saw that and they changed something that they knew we would all notice. The way everything looks. This is a refresh, not only for the operating system, but for all of us. Because let's be honest, most people don't really pay attention to the specs or the processors or how many gigabytes of RAM a phone has. But what they do want is just an exciting experience that actually works, and that's what Apple's trying to bring to the iPhone now. In other words, people just want something that feels new again. And that perfectly explains all the leaks we're seeing about a big redesign coming later this year for iPhone. People just want something new, something that feels more exciting. But that's not all, there's actually more to this. This isn't just about iOS feeling more like visionOS, but Apple actually wants to completely collapse the walls between all of their platforms. I mean, think of it, you open your iPhone and it feels exactly like your Vision Pro. But then more than that, you open your MacBook and your Vision Pro, or you open your iPhone and your MacBook, and it all feels like the same. It doesn't feel like you're using separate softwares. So all of it kind of blends in, and it doesn't feel like you're using a MacBook and Vision Pro and iPhone and Apple Watch and AirPods. Rather, it feels like you're using Apple. It all feels like one big experience. So let's kind of circle back here. Why is Apple actually starting to redesign iOS now after all of these years of just letting it be? Why are they starting to actually completely change it from the ground up, including the look and feel? Well, I think it's kind of just because Apple realized that they need a reset. They realized that people are getting bored and they needed momentum again. They needed more attention from us, from the press, and let's be honest, mostly from Wall Street. People need to feel like something's changing with the devices that they use every day, and this is Apple telling us that we're not done yet. We're still building what's next. This is the kind of move that you make when you're shifting gears, not just for your users, but your whole company. So yeah, I think we get the point now. iOS looks a lot more different, but I don't think this is just about the visual aesthetics. It's about nudging us forward to a future that Apple's absolutely committed to. Unfortunately, whether we're ready for it or not. Apple imagines this future that's not only the iOS in our hands, but it's a future that's all around us, and that's what they're setting the stage for here. And while this looks like Apple just trying to make us excited for a new look on iOS, this might actually be something bigger. Or it might just be me overthinking all of this. Either way, make sure to let me know what you think in the comments below, and make sure to like if you liked the video and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you in the next one.